Hello and welcome to episode number 89 of A VO's Journey. My name is Anthony, and this podcast is all about helping you, the new upcoming voiceover artist, go full-time. Yeah, that's right, baby. Go full-time and, of course, dodge all of the crazy stuff that I run into so you don't have to. All right, you guys, I'm so excited about this episode, number 89. Man, we are close. We're getting closer and closer to 100 episodes. But anyways, this episode today, I want to talk to you all about standing out and how to grow your voiceover business. And right now, at this moment, as if you were just starting or trying to reset yourself and get a clear direction. All right, let's do it. This is VO's Journey. With your host, the incomparable Anthony Pica. All right, so I am back, and I tell you what, it has been an incredible week. I guess it's been, so I went full-time last Monday, and it's felt crazy. I have to admit, like I said, it is summer, and I said the last episode, so that's different. But again, the kids are gone too, so that does make it really different in that sense. So I am basically, here working all day, and it's a lot of fun. It really is. But I had to tell you, I get work done, and I've been working. I'm getting better at getting my work done and staying on task instead of, moseying around and stuff. So that's a good thing. And I'm very happy. Orders, from Fiverr continue to roll in. Being a top-rated seller, I think definitely has its benefits. So that's really awesome and very pleased with that. But I have been seeing a lot lately of different questions circling, about where to go right now in our day and age. There's so many things happening as a voiceover artist that's available to you. And there's still, all those people out there, because I still see them and they still bother me about, you shouldn't do Fiverr, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you got to do this, you got to do that, and I'm like, whatever. Those people can stay up on their white towers and they can just live there forever. And, you and I, we could take over the rest of the world, So I'm like, whatever, they can just stay there. We're going to do what we need to do in order to make a future for ourselves and our families and to go full time. Anyways, that's my little soapbox. So I wanted to talk to you today about what would it be like if I started over today, right now, from this moment. What would I do? If I was back at my job, I had not done voiceover before and I was just getting into it, how would I start my business today? So I think the very first thing I would do, as always, is I would really double down and make sure that my recording space was as top-notch as I could make it. Now, when I say top-notch, I'm not saying I would be able to go out and purchase all the gear I have now, because all the gear I have now came from, years of working on voiceover. But I would go out and I would actually do the same thing I did before, with a little difference. I would go out and I would get some PVC pipe, and I probably would get some wood, and I would create a shell. And in that shell, instead of using just the packing blankets like I did in the past, I would actually get some Corning or some Roxul or whatever, and I would frame those, and I would put those in my booth so that I would make them 4-inch thick all the way around, so that I had a really nice reverb, suction cup, if you will, but that would take out all those low and high end frequencies. And I, at this point, I've learned and I've realized that 4-inch thick Corningware around all four corners of you, even and over top of you, or even just packing blankets over top of you, would be incredible. Would be an incredible studio. And then the equipment, of course, I think what I would try to get is, and depending on my space, but now what I would see is I would try to get, if I was having trouble with my space, I would try to get a dynamic microphone so that I could eliminate some sound or some background noise or anything if I was having noise issues and I couldn't get rid of them. I would try to use a dynamic microphone. I mean, a Shure 80, the Shure no, what is it? The Shure mics are really fantastic, the dynamic microphones. And I mean, you have some great things. I have the Electro Voice 20, and it is fantastic. I mean, so I would try to stay under $500 to buy a microphone, or you could buy I would buy the CAD, the CAD E100S, which I think is about $430 now. But I would buy something like that, and or one of those two, and really use that as my microphone. So that I could really either eliminate the sound or get an affordable mic that wasn't going to break the bank, but also it could be a mic that I could use for a very long time. So once I got all that done, I honestly, where I would drop the majority of my money, now that I know better, I would drop the majority of my money on that's right, audio interface. I would literally do my very best to purchase the best audio interface I could buy, because I know now how important that audio interface is. And out of everything that you have, your space, your equipment, your microphone and everything, that audio interface is so ridiculously important. So I would drop the majority of the money I had to invest in an audio interface. So after I got that done, of course, I would still I would do everything I could to use Adobe Audition, because I think that, to me, that this platform is just the best out there. Now, of course, I'm biased because this is all I've ever used, but I can tell you that I have dabbled with and tried to use Audacity, and of course, Audacity works, and it's a good platform. It's free. But you just, it's free. So you're limited to what you can do with it and the tools you can use. And I find that it's not necessarily it doesn't have all the tools, but it's just about the way that the platform works, like using it. The Adobe Audition seems just so much more user friendly. And it's very you can see everything in live time. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot more intuitive. So I really like Adobe Audition. So that's how I would set everything up like that, and make sure that I have a nice pop filter. If I had an issue in a room, of course, I would, get my Chaotica eyeball, but now I would probably go online and get an Alcatron. What I'm talking about these are kind of these ball, like either round shaped or, octagon shaped or whatever, foam balls that wrap around your microphone that allow you to eliminate the reverb without necessarily having to, change your space. The only challenge with those is right now they're really like front, they're like front address. They don't have any of them that are really that I've seen yet that allow you to have different, like top down or side address or anything like that. Everything's just kind of like front address. So that's the challenge with those. But they're great options if you have like a condenser microphone that's front address and you don't have a lot of money and you're traveling a lot, and you're going in and out of hotel rooms and everything. Those are great. Those foam balls are really fantastic to go around your microphone, and it saves you a lot of time and extra money to do, and you just carry around your interface, a laptop, and you'll be set. I would continue using my iMac. I like that, but I would try to do what I have now, which is a double screen, so I could keep actually, if I could stomach it, you know what I would do? No, let me rephrase that. What I would do now is I would have a Mac Mini. I would have a Mac Mini outside of my booth. And then I would have, because I've created a separate booth, my booth, I would edit and do everything in my booth. And I would have a Mac Mini outside of my booth and then just going into my booth with my computer screen hooked up to that so that there was no noise from the fans or the computer or anything like that. The only thing that does challenge you would be the speakers, but I would put the speakers, I would purchase speakers. And it's funny because even though this price tag is racking up, you could still keep it under $1,000. Well, I don't know. I would see that's a challenge. See, knowing what I know now, I would probably drop $800 on the audio interface and skimp on everything else, as awful as that sounds, because I really feel like the audio interface is that important. And I know too now that I can really make a great booth with just the right insulation, and the structure, that I can buy some cheap wood or PVC pipe and build a structure, and I can use wires and I can hang things, because I've built multiple different structures around my house. I've moved them, I've taken them up and down, I've put things together. So I know that I can do this type of stuff. So, I can actually, put a booth together pretty inexpensively compared to the booth I have now. And, the microphone and everything, a $100, $200 microphone can sound really good still. But that audio interface, it's so important. It is so important in the processing speed, the power, the clarity of changing the analog signal into the digital signal. Guys, like I wouldn't say 90, maybe like 80% of my problems, like literally 80 to 90% of my problems went away when I changed from my PreSonus audio box, that was my interface, to the Apollo Twin. It changed everything, totally changed the sound. I mean, I felt like the $1,000 microphone I had at the time and I have now actually sounded like a $1,000 microphone, So, it was one of those things where it's really important to have a great audio interface. All right, so the speakers you can put in your booth, I would put them in the booth. I would just not have them on while I was recording because, speakers, they make noise. And no matter what anybody tells you, they're going to make some sort of low hum, all right, because they're powered speakers. So there's power, and but that's why we have headphones, right? So you could use your headphones while you're recording if need be. And then when you go back to play it back, you can literally, use your headphones, and then when you're ready to edit, then you turn on your monitors, all right, your monitor speakers. So that's how I would set up everything. That's what I would purchase, all right, to have my booth. And, of course, that's the first thing, and I would make sure that I got my sound right, okay, and, get all my setup straight. I would definitely get a couple. So it's interesting now that I've done this a while, and Adobe Audition – actually now, I don't even use, I'll be honest with you, NS1 is incredible, but I don't actually even use NS1 that much anymore. There's actually, and honestly, this one is incredible. There's actually built into Adobe Audition, there's a bunch of different noise reductions and restoration type things that are built in, but there's one, there's noise reduction, but then there's also something it's called denoise. And then there's adaptive noise reduction, etc. But the denoise is incredible because it does not degrade the audio whatsoever. And you can have it on heavy and it takes out the noise. It's amazing. Now, remember, don't get that confused with de-reverb. But the cool thing is it has a de-reverb as well. And it will take out reverb if you're having an issue with that. I just love what they are doing with Adobe Audition. So literally it has changed the necessity for me to even use NS1. So at this point, I literally do not use any of my plugins anymore. And I don't need NS1. I don't use the dBreath anymore. I don't use, now I will have to say the dBreath, I now manually go through and do it. Because and you guys, maybe I'm just an idiot. I am an idiot. I know that. But I cannot get the debreather to ever work. All these years I've tried, and the debreather always ends up clipping off stuff and making things miserable for my life. So I've just not used the debreather anymore. I actually, for the first time in a long time, used the declicker the other day. Because I was doing something, but it wasn't for a professional. I never use the declicker anymore for a professional thing. It was, more of a promotional small video I was doing for something else, not paid for. So I don't use, I'm being honest, I don't use really any of my stuff anymore because all of the things I know now about Adobe Audition take care of all of it for me. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do those things. I'm just telling you with my situation and what I've seen. And by the way, I can still record, like I still record out of my booth and using the stuff out of my booth, and all the noise and everything. This stuff more than makes up for anything I need. I still don't need those plugins anymore. So anyways, that's that. Now, where I would start. I would definitely start, actually, you'd probably be shocked, but actually the first thing I would do after I did all that is I would get some professional pictures taken. Now, if that threw you off, good, because maybe you didn't, that's not on your radar. But I would literally get some professional pictures taken of me, like somewhere where it looks really good. I'm either in good clothes, there's good lighting, it makes me look unique and stand out. I look fresh and not, I'm not in my house. I'm not on a couch. I don't look like I just got out of the shower. It's not a video from 5 years ago. It is a great professional photograph of myself. I would start with getting that because as I've learned, it is so important, that branding, your name and everything and all that stuff, but you've got to have a brand. And right now for us, we have to put a face to the voice for people. Just like when you try to sell something to someone, you give them a story, it gives them context, then they understand. Or you're trying to tell somebody something and you explain it to them in a story. Our face, our picture, the way we present ourselves, that's our story in a 1 to 3 second snapshot. Then they hear our voice, and together those two things sell us. I'm going to say this to you. That's the first thing I would do. Is literally get great pictures of myself. Because I can tell you how many times I've put my picture everywhere. And I was so fortunate. Now maybe, and again, I use this one picture over and over again because it's kind of become to me my logo. Do you know what I mean? So many people go out and get a logo, but my picture has become my logo. And that's the cool thing about what we do. But my picture is odd. I have my iPhone and I took a weird picture where it had studio lighting, and then it blacked out everything and kept my face, and then it gave like this almost black and white. I love the picture, and hopefully people are okay. Nobody seems to complain about it, so not that they would, not be like, hey, your picture sucks. But I've had to tell people, and honestly, I've not told enough people that they need to get some new artwork, and I'm spending time on this because this is really important, you guys. This is important because that artwork of your face, that is what people see. And it has nothing to do with how attractive you are. I'm an ugly SOB. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not, Mr. Stud Muffin over here. So it has nothing to do with how attractive you are whatsoever. It just has to do with how professional you come across, and then how professional it looks like you, or how important you put an emphasis on making sure that your picture, which by the way, first impressions, you guys, before they even listen to your demo, they see your picture. So your picture has to grab them before your demo does. Okay? Because, if you don't have a picture up there, then who are they listening to? They're listening to nobody. So you got to have great art. So that would be the first thing I would do, is actually get pictures. All right? Then when I would get pictures, I would literally pick a place to go. I would pick whether it was ACX, I would pick Fiverr, Upwork. I would pick a place to go. I would not do a pay-to-play site at the moment because I'm not going to pay $500 for that. And I would literally go all in. Like, if, for example, because I'm biased, of course, I would pick Fiverr. And the very thing that I would do on Fiverr, again, is I would telling you this. I would make sure that my gig, everything is my gig, my questions, my facts, my profile, my description, everything is filled out to a T. It's done right. It's done correctly. I would make it as best as I possibly could. I would make my picture would be what I use, and that picture would stand out because I made sure that it was a professional picture and not some crappy selfie I took, even though mine is a crappy selfie, but it's not actually crappy because I got really, really lucky. because it's different and unique, right? I mean, I'm not going to lie. It has nothing to do with me being special. It has nothing to do with me being awesome. It was a freak of nature that I got the picture I did that's different from everybody else's, and it's worked for me. Okay? Or if anything, I've just stuck with it. I'm sure people are like, I hate seeing that anymore. But the point is, when people see it, at least they know it's me, and they know they're on my site. They know they're on my Facebook page. They know they're to my gig because I use that same picture as my logo. So I would make sure that's done. Then, of course, before I even got on that, and let me back up. After I got my picture, I would get a really freaking awesome demo. It's funny. When I started, I was like, I just, I don't need a demo. And you know what? I have to admit to you, I went a long time without making the very best demo I could. I did. I took all the work I did and put that together. Remember? And for the longest time, I didn't have. Okay, so let me approach this a different way. What would I do if I had no more money? So if I had no more money to get a demo through Anthony, because I do demos now, wink, wink. But if I didn't have a demo, now what I would do is I would literally do what I did because it worked for me. I would do the very best that I could and do about 6 different spots of me narrating dry with no sound or anything. And of course, no music. I would, edit and master and do everything that way just right, but I would not have music or anything. I would put them together just like a regular demo, and that would be my demo. I would make sure that it was the very best that I could make, but I would not put music to it. I see a lot of problems with music still. People are putting their demos together with music, and they think that the music is what, remember, people are not listening to the music. They're listening to you. I do believe that music it's like icing, right? It's like your acting is everything. That's the most important thing, right? Your voiceover is the most important thing. But, music can act as icing, right? It can make it taste, extra special. And that's important, but it's not always necessary when you're starting out. Let me classify this. When you're starting out, it's not necessary. As you climb up the ranks, if you don't have music in your demo, it does begin to look like something's wrong, because the next to people who have music where it sounds like they're in national spots and stuff, that's who's going to be hiring you the further up the chain you go. You know what I mean? So it's important for you then to get that. But when you're starting out, what I would do is what I did. I would create my own demos. Okay, but again, it took me a while. I did a lot of work before I was able to put my demos together. Before I even had a demo, again, this is if I was starting over now knowing what I know. But before, when I started, I didn't start with a demo. I literally started with a couple of things I put together, or on ACX I started with no demo. I had a sample. I don't even know if I even put a sample on. I think you had to have a sample. I think I read, that's what it was. I remember now. I read a clip from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Story. I read a clip from that, and I think that was my first sample ever. I'm sure it was awful, but it didn't matter because, in ACX, the majority of what you do is audition. So that was, I don't think people were really listening to my sample. But again, that's what I did. But eventually, as the more work I did and I got smarter and I learned more and I watched more videos and, took courses and things, I learned more about, what people were looking for. I listened a lot to other demos and things, and because I was, so finally I got to the point where I put my own together without any music. And I had that demo for about 1.5 years. And that built my business. That was the backbone of my business. And then finally, as my business really started to grow, I looked around at my business, and that's where I said, okay, where is the next part? Because I was finally getting my sound and everything was finally right. It was the demo. So that's what I changed. But going back now, starting off to reduce the amount of time it took me to get there, if I had the money, I would buy from Anthony a demo. Sorry, I know it's another shameless plug, but I would get a demo. Okay, I would get a demo. I would not spend $2,000 on a demo, for goodness sake. No, I would not. I would spend under $1,000 on a demo. Okay, it's really important to do that. That's actually why I don't charge over $1,000. I charge under $1,000 for a demo and the coaching that goes along with it, because I was able to do it without spending $3,000 like people told me I had to in order to be successful. And I want other people to be able to experience that too, because it's BS that you have to do all of that in order to be successful, to have thousands of dollars on a demo. So anyways, now if you spent thousands of dollars on a demo, I'm sure it's amazing, and I'm not trying to call you out at all. I'm just saying that if I was starting again, I would not do that. I would spend less than $1,000, especially and I would try to spend less than $1,000 and also have something that included coaching, because the coaching is so important, because whether we believe it or not, a lot of times we aren't even really that ready to be narrating the spots that go on a commercial demo. And you need someone to coach you through that's done enough of it, that knows what they're doing, knows what to listen for, and can explain it to you in a manner in which you can understand it. And then, because that demo is also helping you grow as a voice actor as well. And that's the hope when you get with a demo. I mean, that's how I set up my whole, demo business is helping you grow as a voice actor, not just getting your demo. Anywho, after that is when I would go into Fiverr. And I would get into Fiverr, and now more than ever, especially with them becoming a public company, the growth of Fiverr is incredible, and it's going to continue to grow. More and more people. I saw my first retraction the other day. It wasn't really a traction, but it was many years ago. Someone wrote this bad article about Fiverr, a voiceover artist did, and then they retracted or added onto it. I guess retract means they took it back, but they didn't take it back. They did say, though, that now it seems that the prices are changing on Fiverr. They've gone up. It's not as bad on Fiverr as it was. So, this is the things that's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's just going to happen more and more. More and more people are going to start jumping on Fiverr because the prices of all of us, we keep notching up our prices. And people are still paying it. They are. You know what I mean? I actually am getting more business the higher I raise my, now don't go out and raise this on a side note. Don't go out and rate, Anthony said I could raise my prices by $100. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that start slow, raise your prices slowly. Okay. But I'm getting more work. Now, of course, again, I'm a top rated seller. So that might be, that's definitely skewing things. I know, but I would say that for starting off, I would definitely have multiple types of, because I think as a starting off, you get 5 gigs, I believe. So I would start off with my professional voiceover that handles the commercial stuff. And then I would definitely start off with an audiobook one, you know what I mean? And that also deals with e-learning. And I would really work hard on making sure that those were the very best that they were. I would make sure that I was updating my gigs regularly. Meaning that every once or twice a week, I was updating them with new information, maybe adding a new, switching out keywords, trying different things to keep my site fresh. I would be doing all of my marketing through me posting. By the way, marketing, I would use the buyer's request section, as I've said over and over again, and I've done tons of stuff on how to use the buyer request section. But that's really super important. I saw a great video today from Will Stoff, who posted a video about getting on the buyer's request section at different times. Now, if you are at work all day, like I used to be, getting on the buyer request section throughout different times of the day is hard, right? Because you don't have that extra time. But if you do have extra time, or you've got time here or there, it's really great to pop on there if you can, to look at the different things that are available at different times, right? Because something might be posted and then it goes away, and something else might be posted and then it goes away, and you might miss it if you're only looking at one time a day. So I thought that was a great, message from Will. I thought I'd mention that. But I do think that for me, I would also start doing things more on Instagram, and this is how I would do it on Instagram. I would have a link straight to my Fiverr page. And what I would do is I would literally go on Instagram, and I would film myself doing a minute or under recording sessions. They wouldn't be spots of actual work. They would be work that voiceovers I'm making up, things I'm seeing and I'm just doing. And I would show myself recording, and I would show myself showing my recording screen, and I'd be putting that on Instagram. You know what I mean? So that, Instagram and Twitter, I would usually Instagram. And then, you could even start doing that on YouTube. Could even be a daily or weekly show that you do. But the whole idea here is that you're getting people seeing you recording, and they're getting used to you recording. I mean, I interviewed Brent Hagel. You guys know him. He's really done amazing. He started his own trailer business now, and they're becoming, highly regarded as one of the best trailer businesses in the world. But anyways, I interviewed him on the show here, and, he said, a lot of one of the keys to his success was all the work he did on Instagram. Literally was him recording himself doing voiceovers on Instagram. Now, of course, Brent is extremely talented, but we can do that too. And some of my most interacted with posts and highest engagement posts have been me sitting in my booth with my phone, just taking a minute video of me doing a voiceover spot and posting that. And that's been great engagement. All you need is for someone to see that, it's really great. Or heck, make up a McDonald's one, do a McDonald's one, tag McDonald's, make up all kinds of different, ones that go with all these different companies, and keep tagging the companies over and over again. I guarantee you will get traction either to your Fiverr account or to your website. Now, that brings up the website. I know I'm passing 30 minutes, so I got to go here. I'm kind of on a roll. Maybe I'll have a part 2 to this. But the website, we need to think about a website. It's not as important to start because you're going to have to pay for it. Okay. But it is important to have a website if you are going to build it out and treat it as if it is your real store. If you're not, and you're just going to dump your stuff on there and move on, don't waste your time. You could use a free SoundCloud account. I mean, I actually have people who message me and are like, hey, we want your demo from SoundCloud. I'm like, why do you need my demo from SoundCloud? I happen to have it on SoundCloud for you all to know, but I'm like, why do you want it on SoundCloud? Well, we just use to, that's what we use to listen to different stuff, as we use links from SoundCloud because we all use that. And I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, people, like, I'm telling you, I'm like, I could just send you a personal file, and they're like, no, we want your SoundCloud link. I'm like, okay. But the point I'm trying to make is if you're just going to dump your demo or things, there's so many other places that you can do for free that you don't need to spend money. Use a website if you actually are going to use that website, like really use it, okay? And I mean use it for business, not just dumping your stuff there. All right, so anyways, that's how I would start out. There's a lot more to talk about. I think I'll have a part 2 maybe to this. But anyways, that's how I would begin again and pushing myself to get business. Oh, here's another tip. One more tip about Fiverr. Do not forget the power of holidays. Do not forget the power of specials. Do not forget the power of uniqueness on Fiverr. Fiverr was built on unique things. Okay? Meaning that I went from 0 to level 2. I mean, you can't do that anymore. But when I did it years ago, it was because I put up a gig, and no one was doing it at the time, but I put up a Halloween gig about evil voices. And I did so many evil voices that I got a lot of business and a lot of traction on Fiverr because of that gig. Now I do the majority of my work comes through my professional voiceover gig, but at that time it wasn't. Okay? People took my character voices because that was unique and different. So don't be afraid to try different things. You never know what's going to take off. The worst thing that you can do, and I tell this from the bottom of my heart, the worst thing that you can do is put something on Fiverr and then leave it alone. Even though Fiverr is actively marketing for you, don't leave your stuff alone. Okay? Don't leave your stuff alone and then a month later be like, nothing's happening. Well, it's not anyone else's job to get you business. Fiverr just is a platform that does marketing for you, but you can bring business to Fiverr too. And there's actually programs on Fiverr, if you bring business to them, they won't charge you 20%, but that's another conversation. All right, anyways, listen guys, I'm really excited about, leave some comments. Actually, I don't even know if you can comment on that. You can share this one. I would say share it. And you can leave some comments either in the group or something about this one if you liked it, or your thoughts, or message me, But this is a kind of a roadmap of what I would do starting over again if I started now. All right. And I wish you guys the very best. I'm excited about the future. Keep rocking it. Remember, you can go full time. It can happen. I know it for a fact. All right. All right, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Bye.